uh, communities together, where we have a forward-looking approach. And I think today's conversation is going to be about Japan and Korea, which has become very popular over the years with students thanks to anime, K-pop, all the food, and all the entertainment that they're consuming, which is very different from what we grew up with. Though we still had a Walkman that we grew up with, which was Japanese. So I think we're really today going to have a conversation about two destinations that are warm, welcoming to international students, which has become such a basic, which has always been such a basic need, actually a basic criteria or need. But however, the geopolitical situations have made that difficult. So today we actually present two destinations to you that are gaining popularity, that are really opening up, and which are warm, safe destinations, countries to be at with very high quality universities and education and higher education standards, with also the possibility of staying back, working, and really, sort of making a life uh, around the experience of higher education and, and a lot more and culture as well. So I'm delighted to be joined by Sagar Siddhanti, who you will see as Sid. To avoid any confusion in our office, we have renamed him as Sid. He's also lived in Japan and studied in Japan, and he's the director for our East Asia efforts. And along with Sid, we have Prabhakaran Srinivasan, who's the founder of Study in Korea and has been actively working in the Korea space for a few years now. So comes with a lot of experience. And without any further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Sagar Siddhanti to dive right into Japan. So I hope you not only leave knowing a little bit more about studying in Japan and Korea, I do hope you leave craving some sushi and kimchi as well. So thank you once again for joining, and over to Sid to talk about Japan, and then Sid will pass it on to Prabhakaran for Korea. I do want to share that this is a webinar format, so please don't wait for your questions. Keep putting them in the Q&A box. Don't put them in chat because that's hard to keep track of. This is going to be interactive. There'll be lots of sort of fun elements in the presentation, but it'll be great to have your questions in the chat box throughout the session. And I'm sure Sid and Prabhakaran will be looking at those, and we'll address those as we go along. And of course, we'll have an open Q&A at the end as well. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Sid. And I did again forget, please use something that was innovated in Japan, your emojis, to show your reactions, whether it is a surprise or love or anger. I hope not. But as you hear different aspects about Japan and Korea. So over to you, Sid. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Amrita. And hi, everyone. I do know quite a few of you, and it's so wonderful to see you, for you to take your time out and be with us here today. And when we were putting this together, I asked Amrita, how much time do I get? Because I can talk about Japan all day. I will always be extremely biased towards Japan. Uh, not and For the simple reason again of how much time I've spent there. But she told me that I've got 20 to 25 minutes, and that's a challenge. So I'm going to do my best to stay within the timeline, because there's a lot of ground to cover when it comes to talking about studying in Japan. But yeah, let's see how that goes. So now, before I start showing a presentation, I want to launch a poll for all of you here, just to get a little sense. And the first thing I want to ask is, have you ever been to Japan? So go ahead, let us know if you've been to Japan, not yet, but you'd love to go. Okay. One person, two. Oh, two people have been to Japan. Wonderful. Okay. We'll give it another 10, 15 seconds. Okay. So 75% of our audience has not been and would love to go. Well, actually, it goes close to 90% because not yet people would also, I'm sure, love to go. Okay, 18, 19. Wow, wonderful. Three people have been. Great. Okay, I think that gives us a great data set to work with. So that's wonderful. That a lot of you have not been, but would love to go. So this is something I'm definitely gonna keep in mind for my next meeting and discussion on initiatives we can bring out. Uh, but let's talk about why Japan. So a- when we speak with a lot of you and a lot of people these days, the common thing seems to be that yes, Japan's picking up. There's a lot of buzz about Japan. A lot of students are interested. A lot of counselors are also very curious about what Japan has to offer. But why is that so? Why is that happening? Now, if you ask me, I have a lot to share in this context, and a lot of that comes from personal experience. The first time I went to Japan, I was just 6 years old, and of course that was just a 2 month summer break trip kind of a thing. But I moved to Japan full time when I was 12 years old. So my entire teenage years were spent there, and so I was there for about 10 years studying, and then I also had the opportunity to work for a Japanese company. Let me now share my screen so we have a better understanding. Okay, yeah. And I moved there in 2002, which now seems like a lifetime ago. Worked for a Japanese company for 5 years. So my experience has been very, very interesting because I've seen life as a student, how you live as a student, where I'm able to add a lot of insights. And I've also been, fortunate enough to have time in Japan as a working professional. And both those lives are drastically different. They have amazing, upsides to them. Of course, there are some cons to everything, but it's been a beautiful experience. And this is where it becomes very interesting because there are so many myths surrounding these things. And what I have to say to that in a nutshell is that look, if I can do all of those things, one to 2 decades ago, things have only improved since then. So everything that we hear, language is a barrier, there are no jobs for people who don't speak English, there are no opportunities for people who don't speak, oh sorry, Japanese, not English. Those are nothing but mere myths. Okay. Now, moving on, one of the reasons as parents, people should be really excited about Japan, and I'm sure a lot of you are parents here as well. Japan is an incredibly safe and welcoming country. Okay, safe to the point that if you're walking by yourself, if you're out for a stroll at 2 o'clock in the morning, for some reason, you're completely safe. You don't have to look over your shoulder. You don't have to worry about anything. It's that safe. Education is amazing, right? Japan has produced 30, 35 Nobel laureates. I'm getting the exact number, but somewhere in that range. Amazing career prospects. And this is where I always say Japan has been integrated in our lives in so many levels, our cars, our technology. So, how will there not be any career opportunities? You know, English dot degrees, something we'll cover in a little bit. Comfortable living, the even the basic living standards are so high and so comfortable and amazing that it's just it's just great. Uh, and the visa process is extremely straightforward, right? I'll share once I get to that slide. But this is something that I know a lot of us, and again, I mean, I'm not a counselor, I've just spoken to a lot of students, but I'm sure a lot of you deal with a lot of frustrations when it comes to visas. But when it comes to Japan, it's amazing how straightforward it is. And I'll share the entire process in a little bit as well. But before I move forward, here's another poll, and tell me what's the first thing uh, that comes to mind when you think of Japan, when you hear Japan, when you think, and be very honest, okay? Be very honest. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just about what we think, what our perception is. Oh, wow, I love this. Okay, over 50% of us technology. No one has said ramen. That's really interesting. Okay, anime 20%, bullet train 15%, cherry blossom 21%. Teji saying my second option would have been tech. Okay, okay. Wonderful. Wow. Well, this gives us I'll in fact share these results for everyone to see. I think you should be able to see the results now. And wow, it's wonderful. And this is something I always like to, even when I address students in webinars, that no one picks Japan for higher education. Now, is that because of lack of awareness, or is that because of the myths that surround us, right? Or is it a combination of two? I don't have the answer to that, but hopefully by the end of this session, we can shed some light onto that. Okay, now I don't have any poll for a while, so let's just move on with this. So for those of you who have not been to Japan, a quick snapshot into the geography of Japan. It's an island nation. There are four big regions. There are four big islands. You can see in the smaller map, the red, green, yellow, and blue. The green, which is called the Honshu Island, that's the biggest one. That's where Tokyo and all is. So just like in India, we've got states, then we've got cities, and within cities, we've got different towns and different areas. Japan works the same ways, except it's got one more level where we've got the actual islands. So we've got prefectures in Japan. We've got regions in Japan, which, for example, in the case of Canada, we call provinces. India, we call them states. So one of the areas that you can look at is the Kanto region. So that's where Tokyo is, Chiba, and all, right? And then the other big one is Kansai. So that's like Delhi and Mumbai. Okay. Within each region, we've got different prefectures, right? So Ibaraki prefecture. So that's the next level, and within that, we've got smaller towns and all. So that's how Japan works. Okay, and a very simple thing: the more north you go in Japan, the colder it is. The more south you are, the more warm. It's not exactly warm, but yeah, a little warmer it is. Okay. Okay, so this is very important because a lot of students and parents ask me, how's the weather in Japan? So this is not exactly study in Japan, but I still feel it's incredibly important because as a student, you're going to be, students are going to be spending the next 4 to 6 years of their lives there. So we all know Japan's famous for cherry blossom. So March to May, April is the cherry blossom season. About 2 weeks, entire nation comes to a stop for cherry blossom. March to May, it starts to get a little warmer, between 10 to 20 degrees, and it keeps getting warmer. Summer, June to August, it's 25 to 35. It has started hitting 37, 38 degrees also. It's fairly humid. For example, Tokyo and all is quite humid. Humidity goes up to about 80%. Uh, then autumn, there is autumn, yes. And then it starts to cool down. And then December to February is winter, with January being the coldest month. In Tokyo, it can dip down to about 0 degrees. In other areas, it goes down even more than that. Okay. But everywhere indoor, it's insulated. Summers, it's cool. Winters, it's warm. Even public transport is the same way. So the only time you get to realize the actual weather is when you're walking outside, which would be there because there's a lot of walking that you would do. Okay. Again, in the chat, now I've put student life in Japan. I've got these three pictures here. Does anyone have any idea of what I'm trying to signify here? Just, you can put it in the chat. I know the last image is in Japanese, you would not be able to read it, but just from what I'm trying to show, any idea? The chat's open, let me know. Travel card, yes, so we're on the right track. Exactly, Sangeeta, you nailed it. Perfect. Student subsidies on various facilities. Okay. Yes. So cost of living is a huge factor when we talk about study abroad, right? And Japan goes to the next level to make it very easy for students, right? Now, what you see here on top, the Suica card. So, okay, Suica in Japanese is watermelon. Okay, why the company decided to call a travel card that, I don't know. Okay, but that's what it is. Now, this is a card that's used across Japan. It's a tap and pay thing. You preloaded, you put money in all. And if you're a student, you can get on travel anywhere between 10 to 40% discounts whenever you're traveling. The bottom image that you see, this is a monthly student pass to travel on trains. This is something that I also had when I was a student. And this reduces your monthly travel cost on a particular route by up to 60%. Okay. And on the right, what you see is, yes, halal meat and all is mentioned there, but this is a very common form of advertisement for restaurants and food joints and all, even big restaurants and all. They would very openly advertise special discount for students. You go in, you show your student identity card, you get a discount right off the bat. Okay. So it makes it, yes, it's for all students. No, it's for all students. As long as you are a student in Japan, domestic, international, regardless, you will have a student ID card. And if you show that, you get all of these discounts. Okay. So this is food, but there are discounts on, even for example, when it's winter break and students want to go for skiing, for example, right? Now, if you're in Tokyo, skiing is 40 minutes away for you. So you can get discounts there as well. So everything from any part of your life, whether it's a social part, academic part, there are ways of making things very cheap and affordable. Okay, now let's get into the actual study in Japan part. How many of you does, and tell me in the chat, to how many of you does this come as a huge surprise? There are over 800 universities in Japan. Out of those, 90 universities offer English taught programs. And when I say English taught programs for the rest of this presentation, it means 100% in English, no Japanese at all. Okay, 900 plus English taught programs. Okay, 200 plus are UG programs, 400 plus are PG programs, and then there are research and PhD programs and all as well. Okay, so if you didn't know this before, you know this now. A lot of us know just a couple of names because of the legacy that those universities carry, but this is the actual truth of what Japan has to offer as a study abroad destination. Okay, it's very simple. Only two categories of universities, either public or private, nothing else. No deemed to be university, no autonomous university, only two. Public universities are also sometimes called national universities. The only differences between public and private universities is public universities are a little more selective. They are cheap. They are cheaper, and they have fewer scholarships. Private universities are a little bit more expensive. They are a little more generous with their acceptance, and they have more scholarships, okay, to offer. Now, to give you a sense, these are some of the leading public universities in Japan. And yes, we do work with all of them. And just to make it clearer, these are universities which offer 100% English taught programs. If you want to take a screenshot, I'll wait here for 5 to 10 seconds. You can do that. All right. But we are happy to share all of this information with you outside of this webinar as well. Right. Okay. Moving on. And these are across Japan. So it's not that they're just focused in Tokyo or Osaka or something. Now, the next slide showcases leading private universities in Japan. Okay. Again, I know that the slide showed 90. It's very difficult for me to fit 90 universities on my slides. So I'm just showing you a few, which are some of the leading ones, and you might have also heard some of their names. Okay, wonderful. Now, before I move on, I will now launch my third poll. And my question to you is this: how much do you think studying in Japan costs per year? So what's, according to you, the cost of studying in Japan for an undergrad student? We're not talking about postgrad, we're just talking about undergrad. Undergrad student, all inclusive, academics, social life, accommodation, living, all things. So end to end, what a student has to pay a year. Okay. And here's the poll now. Pick a guess. Okay, this is a very even split. 27%, 15 lakhs, 22%, 40 lakhs, 17%, 12 lakhs, 35%, 20 lakhs. Yes, Jagan, that's correct. The private universities listed also have programs in English, complete English taught programs. Okay, this is wonderful. Let me share these results with you. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the actual is right now. I will showcase it to you. Okay. All right. So we all know what we put our polls toward. Okay. Now, moving on. This is to give you an idea of the areas across which programs in Japan are offered in 100% English. There is a myth that you would only find STEM. Yes, there are more STEM programs, there are more tech oriented programs, but that's not to say that other programs in other areas are not available. In fact, we just had a couple of students who started with us who are looking at studying UI UX in Japan. That's what they're applying for. So this would give you a huge sense of what Japan has to offer, right? Now, but since we're talking about this, there are three areas. As counselors, it's very important for you to know that there are three areas for which Japan might not be the best choice for students. Area number one, medicine, if you're looking at becoming a doctor. Number two, law, if you're looking at becoming a lawyer. And number three, finance. But finance, if you're looking at becoming a chartered accountant. So CA level finance. Okay. Why? Because all three of these fields require Japanese beyond N1. So Japanese has JLPT, Japanese Language Proficiency Test. There are 5 levels, N5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 being the lowest, 1 being the highest. If you're at N1, you're a native level speaker. However, you need to be beyond N1 to study these three. There is one university in Japan that offers medicine in English. Okay, just one, and the competition is fierce. So even if a student knows all the Japanese in the world, if you have a miracle student like that, that's hurdle number one. Hurdle number two is a tremendous competition. Medicine is competitive everywhere, whether it's India, whether it's Japan, whether it's the US. Third, there is no equivalence between India and Japan. So that creates a huge issue uh, because if the student wants to come back after practicing medicine for 10 years, is he or she really going to go back and do MBBS again and do his entire medicine studies again, spend another 10 years? Right? It's not going to happen. So it creates a huge issue there. Okay, now this is the part when we get to the cost and the cost factor of studying and living in Japan. If you're looking at a public university, the average tuition fee is about 3,20,000 yen. That's been rupees. Sorry, this is all in Indian rupees, right? Now, here's the interesting part. When you look at a particular university, whatever university that is, all the undergrad programs, unless if it's something too technical, all the undergrad programs will be priced at the same tuition fees. Their tuition fees is going to be exactly the same. It's not going to differ by course. Same thing with private universities. Okay. Uh, Private universities can go up to 10 lakh rupees. The cost of living in a metro, 8 lakh rupees. The cost of living in a non-metro, 6 lakh rupees. Now, here's the interesting part. I was actually doing an alumni session just 3 days back on Saturday. And this alumni, he's a current student. He's a second year student at Tokyo International University. And I asked him, how much are you paying? He lives in a rented apartment. And so he told me that my figures are actually wrong. I'm showing more expensive figures than it's actually true. So he said that it's actually not 8 lakh rupees, it's 8 lakh yen, which is about 5.5 lakh rupees, living in Tokyo for the entire year, covering his accommodation, food, social life, everything. So, but it's okay for us to have a slightly higher approximation. 11 to 13 lakhs if you're looking at private university, 16 to 18 if you're looking at a private university. And now you can compare that with the poll we did. And also for reference, since you're all professionals and you're all experts, you know where Japan stands when you do a comparative study with other destinations like UK, US, Canada, Australia, wherever. And this is where it becomes interesting because we have not accounted for any scholarships or any part-time opportunities here. Okay. Now, when we talk about scholarships, the two scholarships that we have to look at, one, university scholarships, which we apply for when we are making an application to a particular university. The second one is MEXT. Now, I know there is a lot of buzz about MEXT, that we want our students to apply for MEXT or MEXT this, MEXT that. Yes, MEXT is an amazing opportunity. It's more of a stipend-based scholarship than a tuition fee reduction. In traditional university scholarships, the tuition fee is reduced 10%, 50%, 100%, whatever it is. MEXT gives you a stipend, a monthly stipend, which is transferred to your bank account as a student, apart from some other benefits. Okay. And we're going to go into MEXT because I know that there are a lot of questions. And honestly, MEXT, the MEXT scholarship deserves its own session. That's how complex it is. But I'm just going to spend 2 slides on it. Okay. The first point that you guys need to understand, every year over 5,000 applicants apply for the MEXT scholarship. This is just India, by the way. MEXT is a global scholarship. 5 to 6 scholarships are awarded. So we can just understand how incredibly selective it is. It's not difficult. It is difficult. It's selective. And there are multiple layers. So my first thought, my first piece of advice is, while it's incredibly lucrative, okay, the amount of effort MEXT requires is tremendous. So choosing to go after the MEXT scholarship has to be a very, very conscious decision. Because one, it's not something you're going to want to leave halfway. And second, you'll have to work towards it along with the other studies that the student is doing. Okay. I'm just used to talking to students, so that's why I'm saying you. So I'm just talking about students. That's how it is. All right. Now I'll just go through the rest of it very quickly. There's an undergrad program. If you're, these are the different scholarship tracks. And you also then have to choose what area you're looking to study in. Are you looking at, for example, humanities? Are you looking at science? Is it a STEM-based thing? Is it something to do with computer science, AI, ML? So you have to first choose that, then you have to do other things. What MEXT covers, this is what it does. There's also a round trip fare included in it. And language training is also a part of it, if required, if a student wants to do it. Full funding for the full duration. Okay. UG up to 5 years. All undergrad programs in Japan are 4 years. Medicine is something that goes up to 5 years and beyond, but that's not relevant to us. So 4 years. And postgraduate programs are 2 years. Okay. Eligibility open to obviously non-Japanese nationals, international students as well. You're eligible if you're aged between 17 and 24 years for undergrad. For 35, and if you're looking at doing research, then you can even be above 35 years of age, but you need to have a prior bachelor's degree to be eligible for it. Okay. There are 2 routes to go about the MEXT scholarship. One is the embassy route. So if you go to the Japan embassy's website, they list out all the documents, all the processes. Second is the university recommendation. So that means you're applying directly to a Japanese university with MEXT slots. So that might be confusing. What that means is, MEXT is the Ministry of External Affairs, and it's like the biggest government agency that's there. They are the ones who released this funding, this scholarship. They recognize certain universities as the ones they want to sort of associate with for the scholarships. Okay. So if a student gets an admission or is applying to a particular university and they are recognized, for example, University of Tokyo. So when you're going about the scholarship bit, you can either look for this university scholarship or you can apply for MEXT. Okay. So while you're applying to the university, you can apply through that for the MEXT scholarship as well. That's how it can happen. Okay. It's a long process. It works 2 years in advance. Okay, so the 2026 next scholarships are also done and dusted. In April of 2026, the scholarships will open for October or December of 2027. So it works really in advance. Okay. Applications will open in April to May. Initially, there's an embassy screening with the documents. Then there are exams. Then there is a interview. If that is all clear, then there is a mixed review. There might be another interview, and then there is university placement. Or if if you're going through the university route, then the placement is irrelevant. And Jan Feb is when the results come out, and the students depart in September, October. So 20, you can just yourself trace the timeline from 2026 to 2027. Okay, these are the documents required, uh, and just again some little tips. So next is complex. Again, like I said, it requires a whole session by itself, but this is how the scholarship works. Okay, now let's talk about this. There is going back to the cost of studying. During on semesters, you can work for 28 hours. During off semesters, you can work for 40 hours. You don't need any special permit. It's a part of your visa. The average hourly pay is anywhere between 600 to 800. It can go up to 1,000, 1,200 as well. There is potential for you to earn anywhere between 80,000 to 1 lakh rupees a month. Okay, depending on what hours you want to work, what kind of a job you're doing. For example, if you're working at Starbucks, then the average pay is going to be about 900 rupees per hour. But if you're teaching English, it can even go as high as 1,500 rupees if you're really good as a student, right? And English teaching is a very, very common part-time job in Japan. Okay, so now if we look at a very modest scholarship of 20%, again, scholarships in Japan are completely merit-based. So if you look at a modest scholarship of 20%, part-time work, let's say 10 hours a week, right? So the 11 lakhs annual expense come down to 6 lakh 90,000 rupees, and the 18 lakhs annual expense comes down to 11 lakh rupees, right? Now you multiply this by 4, and what you would understand, or even if you look at it annually, the amount of money that, for example, you would spend in US or UK in 1 year, you would spend in Japan in 4 years. Okay. So let that sink in. 1 year expense in US, UK, some other destinations equals 4 years of expense in Japan. Okay. Now, if you're applying to Japan, undergrad courses are 4 years. Applications open October onwards. And this is where I know there have been a lot of questions. We are part of a lot of groups as well, where people ask, what are the application timelines of universities? This is where it's a little bit tricky. Some universities have a blanket application season going from October till March, but a lot of universities divide their applications into buckets. October will be early application. There is no early decision in Japan. Early application will be October. Then there is a pause. December to January will be one round. February to March will be another round, and May to June will be the third round. So for let's say late students coming in. So this is how they divide. But again, some close in March. So we really have to look at it on a university to university basis. Okay, you need to complete 12 years of formal education, of course, high school scores, grade 10, actual scores, grade 12 predictives, statement of purpose, which is more of an essay actually for Japan, approximately 800 to 1,000 words, depending on the university. Um, your letters of recommendation 1 to 2 depending on the university. Again, a lot of universities have a very set format. It's more like a form that has to be filled out, so that's just sent to the student or the school counselor, and that can be filled out and it's sent directly. IELTS is required, 6.5 minimum. Some even look at 5.5. IELTS is not connected to scholarships at all. It's just a language requirement. SAT is optional. Some don't even want it, but it's just a good recommendation, good addition. So if you're doing it, might as well. 1,300 is a good score. 1,500 is a brilliant score. SATs are directly linked to your scholarships. For international curriculums, IB 36 plus, you're in the green. Okay. While there are certain universities who are even okay accepting certificates, not IBCP certificates. So if you're below 24, for example, right? For Cambridge, AAAs are good. AAAs are actually the bare minimum for Cambridge. And gap year is not an issue. Even if you have a 10-year gap year, a 10-year gap, you can still apply even for a bachelor's in Japan. They just don't care. They simply believe that if you want to learn, you deserve the opportunity to be able to learn. Okay. Main intake is the fall intake. There is a second intake for spring, which is mostly for postgrad students. Very few undergrad opportunities. And the entire application for Japan is merit based. While we can always submit our holistic profile, extracurriculars, and all, uh, most of the weightage will go to our merit. Okay. PG is almost the same thing, except it's 2 years. Okay. And your bachelor's degree is required. A minimum GPA of 7 is is kind of like the bare minimum acceptance. Everything else is the same. And the only other difference is that a lot of PG programs in Japan are very research focused. So you first need to do a faculty connect. Once the faculty says, yes, I'm happy to have you as a part of my research, as a part of my program, then you go ahead and apply because you need to put that approval, faculty approval, as a part of your application. Otherwise, your application is incomplete. Okay. Now, once the process is you apply to a university, you get your admission offers, you choose which university you want, you make an admissions deposit, you make your fee deposit, and then you apply for certificate of eligibility. This is the I-20 equivalent for Japan. This has to be applied through the university to the Immigration Bureau of Japan. They do a background check that whether you've really applied to a university or not, all your documents and everything is in order or not. This takes 1 to 3 months, and there is no control over the timelines. Okay, that's why it has to be done very timely, the entire process. Okay, the COE is valid for 3 months, and this is the absolute critical document for applying for visa. You cannot apply for a student visa without it. And this is how the student visa works. Once you receive your COE, you take that, your parents, students' parents' financial documents, which is bank statements, ITRs, their passport copies might be required. Um, your admission letter, fee deposit, you put all of that together, submit it to the Japanese embassy or consulate. They may call you for an interview. They might do a telephonic interview. Uh, and then your visa can come in as little as 14 days. That's how easy it is. It's very, very simple, very, very straightforward. Okay. There is no possibility of a cancellation of appointment. There is no possibility of slots suddenly disappearing overnight. Right. Now, the visa duration is by default for the program. So if you're going for an undergrad program, by default, you'll get a 4 years plus 6 months. The 6 months is over and above your degree. And if you still not have a job after the 6 months, you can simply fill out an application to the Japan Immigration Bureau saying, look, I'm still looking for a job. These are my efforts. They'll give you another 6 months. So it's 4+1 overall that you get for Japan. But universities start pushing you from third year to get internships and to look for jobs. So 95% of the students have an unconditional job offer in their hands by the second semester of their last year. Speaking of unconditional, most universities in Japan also offer undergrad students, high school students, unconditional offers for undergraduate studies based on the predictives. Okay, career opportunities, a huge, huge question. Average salaries, 2 lakh per month. Okay, that's the average starting salary. Now, if you circle back to the investment of what it costs, and if you look at this, it's pretty clear. The ROI factor is pretty clear, right? Within 2 years, the entire investment that a family does in Japan can come out. Pragati, it's honestly it's a case to case thing. In a lot of cases, even for example, I mean even if a student, let's say hypothetically, gets an 18, for example, on IB, we can still apply and we can write a supplementary application to a university. stating the reason for why it happened, and a university still might go ahead and offer the program. Scholarships will be out of the question, probably, right? Because that's completely merit based. But if you're only talking about admissions, there's still a good chance for that to go through. For career opportunities, again, it's pretty self-explanatory on what's there, right? So I'll just move ahead. One sec. Am I skipping a slide? Okay. All right. Uh, this kind of brings me to the close of what all is there. If you're looking at studying in Japan, yes, there's a lot more depth that we can go into, and there's a lot more to be discussed on a case-to-case basis. For example, if there are students who are looking at applying to Japan, um, one of the things that we usually do is a course-wise approach. So we first actually have to understand what course the student is studying, and then we find the right university. Because just to give you an example, University of Tokyo is the #1 university in Japan, right? If we look at rankings and all, but they only have one undergrad program. Yes, they're launching College of Design next year, which is going to be a huge stepping stone for them. But if that one undergrad program is not aligned with what the student wants, then the fact that UTokyo is #1 is not relevant for that student, right? We might need to look at a different university. So that's what the primary point of concern then becomes. Okay. Now, what all is Acumen doing towards studying Japan? And this is again because we have Acumen has the government of Japan's mandate to promote studying in Japan and South Asia. So our first mandate is study in Japan. Within that, there are different areas of engagements that we have developed. The first one is Sakura Pathways, which is a complete guidance pathway for undergraduate and postgraduate students, which goes from profile mapping to understanding courses, universities, all the way to scholarship, visa support, pre-departures, even connecting students to student ambassadors that we have in Japan, helping them set up. We are launching Sakura immersion programs as well as summer programs. So if any of you are interested in understanding summer programs for students, these will be up. We are happy to discuss them. They're going to be a fraction of the cost of what some other summer programs cost, and they will be in direct coordination with a lot of Japanese universities. Sakura partners, if there are any independent consultants here, we are more than happy to discuss this with you. Sakura Futures is what we're trying to establish from an internship and career pathway perspective, which is where we're working with JETRO, Japan External Trade Organization. Japanese Future Labs is something that we are launching as a language and cultural introduction immersion program. So it's a complete self-paced program that students can be a part of. They study at their own pace. They do weekly engagements with Japanese people to refine their language, and students as young as grade 8 or 9 can enroll in it. So this is something that's about to come out, and most of you are aware of Navi Japan, the digital platform that we've launched to create more awareness about study in Japan. And just to take another 2 minutes, and then I'll bring Prabhakaran in. Yes, as I mentioned, we have the official mandate to promote study in Japan. What we've been doing towards this over the last 11 months since we were awarded this, we've engaged with over 25,000 students. Not a large number compared to the potential that India has to offer. But through our efforts, these are students we've engaged with to create awareness about Japan, just like we are doing today, what Japan has to offer. We've been going crazy with webinars. We've just been connecting with students, parents, counselors to try and create as much awareness as we can. We've done over 159 in-school sessions where Amrita has been the primary person leading them, going to schools, talking to counselors, talking to students. We did a TechBridge student challenge. This was very interesting. We'll probably do it again next year, hopefully. And this is where this was a student engagement activity to create more engagement towards Japan. Students had to find a problem in India, find a solution or an innovation in Japan, use that to solve that problem in India. So it required them to do a lot of research. It required them to actually, sit and really come out with a problem and understand. And the top two winners of this competition are, as their prize, are going to go to Japan for a week, meet universities, meet companies, have a whole immersion trip. These are some of the partners that we work with, a lot of government agencies, because Japan is incredibly uh, focused towards promoting their work in India. Navi Japan is something that we launched over 2 months ago. This is what we've been able to achieve. Over 15,000 students are already on the platform. They're using it. And it's more from a information perspective. And if they have questions, they are more than happy to connect with our live chat. Our counselors are there on the app to give them free counseling sessions to help them really understand what they can do if they want to look at studying in Japan. Uh, we created, so again, from the perspective of creating career pathways for Indian students in Japan, we worked with JETRO, Japan External Trade Organization, to create a directory of Indian and South Asian universities, where we put in 73 universities, did a lot of their research, um, and launched it for Japanese companies in Japan. So if a Japanese company is interested in recruiting students from India, we can help them connect with these universities and help them develop a recruitment pipeline. So that's something that's been happening. And we then did a talent competition. This year it was at the university level, 17 universities, 5,000 students across UG and PG, 11 winners. 6 companies came in, they gave real life problems that they're facing. These students got to work to solving these problems. And the 11 winners are now going to travel to Japan to meet these companies and make a showcase in January. And we are doing a research study with Kansai University of 3,000 students across India, high school and undergrad, to understand what students perceive of Japan, what they think about international higher education and study abroad. So a lot of you might have also received our emails or something to requesting your students. And this is not an exercise to uh, receive information about students. In fact, the only thing that we are collecting in it from a validation perspective is the student's email ID, and I think that's also optional, because the idea here is to keep it anonymous, no names, no nothing. And this is a research study required by the government of Japan to help Japanese universities understand the kind of opportunities that can be created for students here in India. All right, thank you very much. That brings me to the close of study in Japan. I really don't think I stuck to the 25-minute timeline, and I apologize for that. There was just a lot of ground to cover. Um, I see that there are questions in the Q&A. I will type out the answers as Prabhakaran presents. But Prabhakaran, over to you to take everyone through study in Korea, and I'll give you the rights to present as well. So we'll be able to. Let me just figure that part out. But why don't you go ahead, please?
Yeah, Sid, thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Perfect. Sid, I mean, it was very detailed about Japan, and now I will be giving you a small introduction on Korea, and I will take you to the quizzes and polls, and then I will be finishing off the how the counselor part and the counseling sessions will be for this Korean higher education thing. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for attending the session. I will start with the first poll. Let's go for poll 2. Yes. Uh, which factor attracts students most to study abroad? Anybody? Career opportunities, yes. Global exposure, safety, lifestyle, scholarships and funding? None? Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. So, with time being a constraint, I will be closing this poll. And as everyone said, the career opportunities, scholarships, and funding, global exposure, safety, and lifestyle, each of the things matters a lot, and Korea gives all this. To start with, Sid, I can't able to move to next slide. Can you please help me with that? Perfect. Yeah. Why South Korea? I mean, why Korea? Usually we say like we choose countries based on what we say in the previous poll. The opportunities that provided by the country, the scholarships and fundings, safety, security, and everything. So in recent days, Seoul ranked number one in QS Best Student City in 2026, overtaking London for top position globally. And Korea becomes number four in intellectual property ranking for Global Innovation Index in 2025. And it's not, Korea is not just about K-pop and K-drama. And there are a lot of things that's happening inside Korea. And there is almost six plus universities in global top 200. In the universities like Seoul National University, Onsei, Korea University, Posttech, SKKU, and Hanyang. And of course, Korea gives a lot of scholarship. Then in recent days, most times it will be like it's not just I think I was stuck.
Doctor, I'll manage your slides. You can let me know when you want to move to the next one. Thanks.
Perfect. I want to run quiz one. Yes. Just to test, how many Korean universities are in the global top 200? Yes. Perfect. Perfect. Great. Okay. Yes, in the previous slide, we actually covered that six universities are in global top 200. And okay, I will end the poll now and I will move on to the next slide. See, these are the three cities, major cities in Korea. Seoul, Busan, and Daejeon. Seoul being the number one QS best student city in 2026, and Seoul is the capital city, as everyone know. It have more technological companies, and it is covered with excellent public transports. And Busan is considered to be one of the best tourism city, and Daejeon is where the science and research hubs are, and home to KAIST, which is one of the most famous university in Korea. I will move to the next slide, Sid. This Korea is about mostly like engineering and technology. It covers AI, robotics, semiconductor, and designing courses are also most famous in Korea, and business and economics, media, and when it comes to media and creative arts, as we are aware, a lot of K dramas are more popular in India as well. And life science and biotech, they are massively investing on that. When it comes to international studies like Asian studies, international relations, and Korean language, they are getting more popular in India as well. Hospitality is one industry which is getting tremendous opportunities in Korea. So next slide, please. Yeah. And there was a myth that Korea is having only Korean taught programs, and there is no such or much awareness about Korean education system and higher education system. And there are a lot of English taught programs available in Korea. And majority of the universities have English taught programs, at least one or two programs in most of the universities. For English track means it is completely in English, not like one or two papers will be in Korean or something like that in majority of the universities. And typical English proficiency requirements are from 5.5 to 6.5. And if it is, I mean, in IELTS, if it is in TOEFL, it's 80 to 100. The diversification is much higher in Korea as of now. Some programs offer optional Korean classes along with regular curriculum. And there are few universities which are offering free intensive Korean language as well before the start of the program. So, Sid, let me move to next slide. Yes. If the student is planning, as we are, most of them are counselors, I will be like school kids. I'm considering for the school kids. So while they are in class 9 to 10, the student journey will be start from there. Uh, they need to research what Korean education system is, and they can easily get in touch with a lot of the Korean universities by online. But most times, it's very difficult. I mean, we won't get reply on time from Korean universities. So that's the reason we always want students to start as early as possible. And so if they start from class 9 to 10, they will have an idea or how exactly or where exactly they want to go and all those stuffs. So by the time, when they are in class 12, by Jan or March, most probably they will be getting the admission confirmation acceptance. From there, they will go to visa, and visa is very straightforward. Uh, you will get the visa, and most universities now planning for e-visa concept, which means you don't need to book any appointment, you don't need to go to any visa office. The visa will be in your inbox. University will take care of everything. Yeah, next slide, please. These are the key dates. Application window starts. The intake is on March and September. The application period starts in September of previous year. So we need to submit documents. We need to do a lot of documentation works, which needs quite a long time. So that's the reason we always insist students to start as early as possible. So thank you, Sid. These are the complete checklist for applying for Korean universities. Every document, the school transcripts need to be apostilled, no matter what, if it is IB or Cambridge or State Board or Central Board, whatsoever. Every high school transcripts should be, yes, we can try to share the deck. And this high school transcripts need to be apostilled. The apostle itself takes at least 2 weeks time. So the language proficiency, I personally recommend everyone to appear for any language proficiency, mostly like IELTS or TOEFL. The reason behind that is most universities give scholarship based on that as well. There are few universities I can say like Konkuk University, which is giving those students who have more than 8, they will be getting 100% scholarship for their first semester. Yeah, Shyama Nair. Apostle in the sense it's done by Ministry of External Affairs. We need to submit the documents to MEA to get that apostilled. I will give you a clear-cut explanation in person. I will let you know accordingly. So the additional requirements mostly like if the student is going for design or arts program, yes, they need to create a portfolio for that. On top of it, most of the personal documents which every university is asking, across the globe, it is common like statement of purpose, 2 or 3 letter of recommendations, resume, passport copy. These are as it is with every other country the same. So next slide, please. Yeah, the tuition fees. When it comes to tuition, the private universities will charge somewhere around 3,000 to 5,000 USD per semester, and the public universities charge 2,000 to 3,000. These are without scholarships, and the possibilities of getting scholarship is much higher. Based on IELTS as well, they will be giving, I mean, the scholarship will start from somewhere around 30% to 50%. I will cover that in the upcoming slide. And one more thing is like we have in Korea, there are three US universities. Three US universities like George Mason, University of Utah, and the other university is Sunny Korea. Sunny, I think, yes, SUNY, State University of New York. They have all these three have campus, and the tuition fees in these US universities will cost somewhere around $20,000 as it is in US. But the possibilities of getting scholarship is much higher in these universities. I mean, at least 40% less costlier than what it is in US. And there are possibilities that you can transfer from here to US as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the most common questions that I received from students. What is the cost of living and how the budgeting will be for students? I mean, roughly, in if they are in Seoul, it will be like US dollar 560 to 750 per month for living expenses. And if it is in other cities, say for example, Busan or something, it will be like $450 to 640 US dollar. I mean, for currency conversion, I can say like 40,000 to 57,000 in other cities. And if it is Seoul, it will be 50,000 to 68,000. Next slide, please. And KRW is Korean won. 100,000 Korean won is 6,040 rupees in India. I mean, this is the price as of 20th November 2025. This is roughly to understand the conversions and to plan financially. Next slide, please. This is the annual budget if you are in Seoul. The tuition will cost somewhere around 4,83,000 in a public university, and the accommodation will be somewhere around 3,62,500, and food, transportation, books, and everything cost roughly 10,63,800, which is somewhere around $12,000. Next slide, please. Yes. And GKS is one thing which everyone speaks about nowadays. I want to give you what GK is. I mean, a rough overview on what GKS is. They will be giving somewhere around 2,200 plus scholarships annually worldwide. But when it comes to, there is a quota for Indians, it will be somewhere around 14 to 15 students may able to get. And it will be like two application tracks. One is through embassy and one is through university. But mostly we recommend you to apply by university track so that the possibilities of getting is much higher. And application timeline starts in September to November for following year and for undergrad. So next is the university specific scholarship. Sid, go for the next slide. And GKS, we can't able to assure, but when it comes to university specific scholarship, yes, the possibilities are much higher. We can able to assure you the scholarship based on your academics and based on your IELTS score. And these are the universities which are, I mean, these are the sample institutions which we are covering. They are saying like most universities are giving even 100% tuition fee waiver. In SNU or any other university, when it comes to Korea, they won't give scholarship for complete studies. It will be like they will be giving you for first semester. If you perform well, you in the sense students, the students perform well in the first semester, the scholarship will continue for next semester as well. So that's how it is, which really makes every student to study hard. Next slide, please. Yes. After completing their studies, they will be in D2 visa while they are in studies. And after completing their studies, they will be getting D10 job seeker visa. It will be given every year. You have to renew it every year. They will be, I mean, recently in October 31st, they announced like earlier it was 2 years. Now they are planning to give for 3 years after graduating. It is on point-based system. You can able to work or search for internships or anything is fine for them with that visa. And most popular industries there in Korea is IT and software development. And nowadays, the creative industry is booming like anything. And as it is in Japan, English teaching in Korea is also a handsome, I mean, the best uh, way to earn more for the students. And the expected starting salary will be somewhere around 21 to 30 lakhs, varying by industry and qualifications again. Is if there may be a question like, is really a Korean language or the proficiency in Korean language is needed? Not exactly, but end of the day, it has a significant advantage in job market. Next slide, please. And moreover, after completing their studies, if they come back to India, the possibilities of getting job in India is also much higher. As we are already aware, there are a lot of Korean companies in India. And I can say like, if you are from Tamil Nadu, you may aware that Chennai alone has 500 plus companies, Korean companies. So even now there are substantial investments happening, and the employability advantage for Korean degree holders are highly valued for technical expertise. And the possibilities of shifting to US is also much easier uh, when you complete your bachelor's in Korea. So next slide, please. Yeah. Uh, this is how, I mean, the comparison that the major destinations that the student prefers. The ROI timeline is very less, and the scholarships are much higher. The post-study work visa is also assured. Safety-wise, it's very high safety, and the cost for your entire course or entire studies will be much cheaper than any other traditional English speaking countries. Next slide, please, Sid. Yeah, now this is what we covered. And next slide, please. Yeah. So as we are, I mean, as the presentation is for mostly covering counselors, I want to create a counselor's toolkit before, I mean, to help you much better. The academic GPA for the students will be greater than or equivalent to 80%, which is really mandatory for getting admission with most of the universities with scholarship. There may be chances that you will get admission without with 65 to 70 percentage as well in high schools, but end of the day, scholarship may not be available for those students. And language, usually most universities will be saying like 5.5 is enough, but we recommend you to score more in IELTS or TOEFL whatsoever as much as you can, so that the possibilities of getting, even though if the student is not able to get GKS, they are able to get at least university scholarships, which reduces the tuition fees substantially. And red flags, usually it will be like the students and the kids have unrealistic expectations about lifestyle. We need to explain that. And most times there will be like no or major information available in internet. So that's also an issue now. That part will be taken care by us. And to emphasize with the parents, we will be saying like, I mean, it's the QS is ranking Seoul as number one for safety rankings and low crime. The costs are 40 to 60% cheaper than US, UK education. Return on investment is much higher, and support system is much higher for international students in any university you are going in. And the regular updates and emergency contacts will be provided for the every student. So the communication, there is no barrier for communication. So next slide, please. Yeah. This is how the student journey will be, as it is for every other country. I mean, this is the same thing which applicable for US as well, as most counselors are aware of it. And the exploration will start at least 6 to 12 months before, and we need to prepare for IELTS and TOEFL at least 3 to 6 months before, and application phase And there may be chances. Most universities will be, I mean, if you apply early, there may be chances for getting application fee waiver as well for few universities. So it takes at least 1 or 2 months to get admission results. Some universities will give within 3 weeks. Some universities will take at least 1 month, and some university may take at least 2 months. It depends again. And the visa phase, as few universities are coming up with e-visa now, it's 3 to 4 weeks maximum. We will be getting the visa, and most times, if the university that we are applying for doesn't have e-visa system, we need to apply directly with the embassy, which takes 1.5 months now. So, getting the visa before 1 month will help us to plan smoothly. And next slide, please. Yeah. And this is about Korea. And I just want to have finish this off at the earlier so that we will discuss much on Q&A session. Sid, that's it from my side as of now. I'm open for questions now.
Great. Thank you. All right, everyone, that brings us to the close to the presentations. There were a couple of questions which we did answer, but happy to take more. And yes, as shared earlier, this is a lot of the work that we are doing towards Japan, and we are also now looking at introducing Korea. So if there are any initiatives that, for example, you are interested in, and or if you would like for us to come and do a study in Japan session, could be in person, could be virtual, we'd be more than happy to come interact with your students, create more awareness. If you have students, or if you have students who are looking at specific programs, we are more than happy to connect you with universities in Japan, or even help get the applications and all started. But yes, happy to take questions if there are, and there are. Okay, I'll take one. This is, if available, can you share the average placement statistics post doing bachelor's in Japan? Okay. Yes, I have those stats. The average placement in Japan post bachelor's is about 98%, and this is regardless of the university. This is across the country, and the reason why it's so high, and it's not a made up stat or a Google wise stat. This is actual reality. It's very simple. Japanese universities have incredibly high industry partnerships. And the reason those partnerships happen is because a lot of companies choose to work with universities for R&D purposes, research purposes, and project purposes. So when they collaborate with professors, professors loop in their students for project work or internship opportunities and all. And that creates a very natural recruitment pipeline for companies. Companies even end up offering internships to students that way, and that those internships could then lead to jobs. So this is why it's very effective and straightforward to get a job in Japan. Okay, Deepika, sorry, please go ahead. Okay, I can allow you to talk. Why don't you go ahead? You can unmute yourself and talk. We would love to hear from you. Hi, Deepika. Are you able to hear me? I can't hear you in case you are speaking. Deepika, are you talking? Are you able to talk? If not, you could also put your question in the chat. I'll be happy to answer it from there as well. Thank you, Sangeeta. Really appreciate the message.
So in Q&A, there was a question like, I'm studying BCA, which is 3-year program in India. After studies, I will have 15 years of education. Am I able to apply MS in CS English track program at top universities?
Yes, that's correct. Even if you have a 3-year bachelor's degree, you can still go ahead and apply for master's in Japan. Japan does recognize 3-year degrees. That is not a problem.
Yeah, but when it comes to Korea, if you are looking for engineering masters, definitely they won't. But it is general masters, yes, there may be chances.
Prabhakaran, there's a question for you. What are the visa application fees for South Korea?
It's around 4,500 to 6,000 INR.
Okay. Someone has put a question. We would like to do a specific admissions webinar for 2 to 3 universities for students. General sessions can be a starting point. Okay. It's anonymous, so I'm not sure who put this message. But yes, please feel free to connect with me. Very happy to connect with you or Amrita. If you have Amrita's email, please feel free to write to her. If you would like to write to me, I'll just put my email in the chat. We'll anyway be sending everyone thank you emails. We can carry those conversations there as well. Yeah, so here's my email. If you're interested in us doing a session, more than happy to do it. I can normally talk about almost all the universities that are there in Japan. So if we are looking at a general session, it would be good to have an idea, for example, which area we are looking at, for example, engineering or humanities or language studies or culture studies. So it just helps to sort of hone in and focus on which universities would be more relevant for us to discuss. So that would be a great insight. Okay, what kind of courses are available if a student wants to study design, especially UI UX design and undergrad in Japan? Yes, so there are courses available. Again, we would have to look at so there is a distinction between UI and UX. So are we leaning more towards UI? Are we leaning more towards UX? That's one thing to figure out. And overall, yes, there are quite a few universities that offer these courses. So would love to understand a little bit more about the student's profile, but yeah, there are opportunities available. UX with, okay, so double majors is something that's not there in Japan, or a major minor combination. Major minor combinations are very rare. They're very few in nature. Not many universities offer because it's a different concept to them. Instead, what students do is they just end up doing another bachelor's altogether to gain expertise. So UX with psychology is probably not going to be very easy for us to find. Okay, Deepika, hello. Okay, let me allow you to speak.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, hi. I'm so sorry. I'm in a very bad signal area. So my
No
question was that you said that you
Yes.
applied the year previous to going to university. For example, if you're going to join in the fall of the following year, you apply 1 year before.
Sure,
So
yeah.
you apply, that means you apply with your predicted scores. And my question is to both of you. So both Japan and Korea, you apply with your predicted scores. So do you get a firm offer based on that, or like how does it work is the first part of the question. And the second is for Korea, you mentioned that you need to get your transcript authenticated by the MEA. So is that going to be like with your final board result, or is it going to be with the predicted? So this is my question. Thank you.
All right. I'll take the first part for Japan. Simple and short answer. Yes, most universities in Japan give unconditional offers based on the predictive scores. And some universities allow us to even upload our predictives if there are if there's an initial set of predictives, there's another set of mock exams that happens which gives you another set of predictives. So in case they improve, we can upload this. Some universities give us that provision, but most universities are very happy giving unconditional offers based on the predictives. Prabhakaran, over to you for the other question.
Yeah, when it comes to apostle, I think I can say for initially they will be accepting the predictive score. As and when we receive the final transcripts, it's mandatory to submit the apostle documents to get the offer letter.
But when do you get the offer? Is it at what point? Like, you get it with the predicted and then you upload it when you get the final offer, like the final result, or you don't get an offer till you upload your final result, like Singapore?
I mean, they will give you a conditional offer.
Okay, they will. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
Deepika.
Okay, wonderful.
And actually, Sangeeta asked, are there student discounts offered in SK as well? I mean, student discounts in the sense, is it tuition
Sorry,
fee?
what's the question?
I mean, Sangeeta posted a question like, are there student discounts offered in SK as well? Is it like On tuition fees, or you are asking about general discounts in the marts or something like that? If that is the thing, yes, there are student discounts available everywhere in South Korea as well as it is in Japan. If it is on tuition fees, it's purely based on IELTS. And Jay had posted a question like, are Indian meals available for students? Yes, there are, but not with inside campus, but you can get Indian meals there.
Jay, there is a lot of Indian food in Japan. There's a lot of Indian food available. My father had 5 Indian restaurants when he was in Japan. He's from hospitality. Uh, that's why he went to Japan. That's why then I went to Japan. Just kind of made a chain reaction. Uh, but yes, and this was again back in early 2000s, you know. So that's the kind of craze that was there for Indian food at that time. It has only increased. So yes, Indian food is still available, but countries like Japan and Korea make it very easy for students to even cook food themselves. So it's food. I genuinely don't think food is a problem. And there is enough information that we share. For example, when we do our pre-departure sessions and all, there's a lot of information that we share about food. They'll already have students in Japan, friends in Japan who will be able to help them out. So food's not going to be a problem. Okay. All right. Wonderful, everyone. Thank you so much. I think we've just come to the end, and I think we might have even exceeded a little time.
Better gate photo.
So thank you, everyone, for joining in. It's been wonderful chatting with you. Oh, there's another question. Hold on. Ashima is asking, one of my students this year is applying to South Korea, and the university is asking the student to submit predicted grades in the application. We have a policy of not sharing predictive grades. Ooh, yeah, that happens.
Ashima, then it's very difficult. Then it's very difficult because they need the predicted grades so that they will be giving you a consideration of giving conditional offers, at least. If it is not possible, then it's really difficult for us to proceed further. Maybe we have to wait for 6 months to get into the next intake.
So Ashima, we had a case for Japan, similar, where a school didn't have where a school had a policy of not sharing grades. So one thing that kind of worked there was that it was for a Japanese university. When we made the students portal on the university application dashboard, we sat with the student and the counselor, and the counselor uploaded the grade, the predicted grades there. And once it's uploaded onto the platform, you can't download it or see it even after. The student can't do it himself because it becomes an undownloadable file. If that's something that works for the school, if that's something that works in the case of the university here, could be an option you could consider.
Yeah, I mean, Ashima, yes, it's possible if you directly drop an email to the university, then it's fine.
Deepika, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So sorry. So you
Your voice.
only require the predicteds for the 12th, or do you like how does it work for both Japan and Korea? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hello?
Fine,
Yes.
fine.
Can you hear me?
Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
I said that when you are asking for the predicted,
Yeah.
do you only want the predicted for class 12, or do you look at the 9th, 10th, 11th transcript also, or is it only based on 12th?
For Japan, yes, for
Yeah.
Japan, we need actual scores of grade 10 and predicted scores of grade 12. That's it.
Okay.
Grade
Okay.
11 is not required.
Okay. And what about Korea?
Same applicable, same as
Okay.
Japan in this
Oh.
matter.
And do you also look at SAT scores, or they're not considered? I mean, I know you mentioned for Japan, but what about Korea?
Few universities will look for SAT scores.
And what is a good SAT score?
I mean, anything above 1100.
Okay. So they're quite generous. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. We are now at time, and it was a wonderful interaction. We really hope to see some of you very soon in person or virtually again. And thank you for taking out the time. I know there was a lot of information. We'll definitely see if we're able to share the recording or the presentation. But if you need any help, please feel free to reach out. We are here. Amrita's there. I'm here. Prabhakaran's here. We'd be more than happy to speak with you or your students. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Have a wonderful evening. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Thank you so much.
Bye.